Welcome back to Bottom Line Africa. Thank you for staying with us as we continue dissecting Martha's youth agenda. We're joined in studio by Taye Balogun, who is an innovation and communication expert and quite an avid supporter of youth martyrs, not just in the region, East Africa region, but Africa as a continent. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome to Bottom Line Africa.
Right.
Now, martyrs' youth are very, very important, especially when you take into account the numbers. The statistics don't lie. The youth are actually, in Africa, are actually a very large percentage of what is compared to other regions, other continents in the world. What do you think this has in store for Africa as a continent in future as we delve deeper into Martha's youth agenda?
Thank you first for having me. And I think you've mentioned, as you've mentioned, there is a concern. There is a generic concern about the future of this continent. And knowing that we have that huge statistics as regards to young people who are very much interested in the development of this continent genuinely. However, on the flip side, there are not enough platforms for this sort of energy to blossom. It's just, for instance, you have so much energy to do something, but you don't have where to channel that energy to. And we keep saying, you know, this innovative, young people who are technologically very inclined with what is going on across the world. So you have someone in a very small village who still thinks as if he's probably in the US because of the power of technology and the power of the internet. There's so much information and content out there that allows young people to say, I can do this, we can actually do this, we can actually create solutions to this. However, but the government is not doing nothing. I mean, there are a lot of platforms for young people, youth seminars, youth conferences, youth, all sort of things. And we're very concerned that, young people are being talked to. They're not being talked with. And that's what we want to change.
Well, that's very important, and I appreciate the fact that you've highlighted the challenges facing youth, because in terms of leadership, in terms of politics, in terms of economic aspects of the society that actually push a particular country towards achieving its vision, let's say Kenya Vision 2030, the youth will play a very very important role in achieving Vision 2030, not just in terms of economic growth, but also in terms of leadership. Now, you have been an avid supporter of Martha's Youth Affair and prioritizing the youth agenda, not just in Kenya, but the region as well. You've mentioned the challenges, perhaps a couple of moves you've taken in your capacity as well as the organization to make sure that the youth agenda is prioritized.
Thank you for that again. One of my concerns is always, bringing young people together, convening young people for meetings and things and what have you, from the African Union level to the regional level. We see a lot of, young people sitting on this side, and we have older people sitting on the platform talking at them about what we're doing, what we plan to do, what we have aspirations about. However, we are not going to sit down and wait for all these amazing talks as opposed to react. And 2 years ago, we decided that we need to create a platform that is very youth inclusive. So from the programming to the design of what sort of conversations should we have, to what sort of young people are we having in this particular summit, we're very keen on those type of people and the mannerism, the methodology of how we convey that sort of message as well. We have long seen that sort of, colonial type of I'm talking to you is not working anymore. You see how the UN is set?
Yes.
It's round.
Yeah.
The AU is round. We need to have a roundtable discussion. We need to have young people talk within themselves, not talk at someone. And this is what we are trying to do for this particular youth summit, which is coming up on the 19th of November till the 23rd of November. We had the first last year, And it was just incredible how you put young people in a space. You don't need to say this is a networking time. They're already networking. They're already talking about what are you doing? What are we doing? What can we do? And I think that's the sort of space we want to create. We don't want to create a space where we are afraid to speak our mind, or we are given 5 minutes to talk about what matters to us in a forum where we have multiple leaders who can actually help. So these are the things that we are actually changing. But this time around, we're also aware that we cannot do this without the government, without stakeholders, non-governmental actors, NGOs, CSOs, and companies. We know we cannot do it without them. So we're actually having a partnership with the EAC, the East African community as well, to say, we need you to just please hear these young people who are already doing something. They're not waiting for you. They're not complaining. They're already doing something, but just listen to them and uplift them a little bit. Because, you know, in the next 5 years, they are going to take those seats that you're sitting in. And if the awareness is there, if they are aware that these young people are actually the future of tomorrow, like they say, they need to give us the chance now. And that's the reason why we're very passionate about not only talking, but working.
Well, that's very important. The East African Leadership Summit, that's
Right.
what you're talking about. Now, even as we bring youth in a round table to discuss matters that are affecting them, we still have to look at the statistics. Holding conversations about such topics is very important, but
Right.
the problem lies in implementation.
Right.
As you've mentioned, you've brought on board the East African community, but what is the end goal of this particular summit?
Yeah, I mean, last year, the previous years was the year for the young people at the African Union level. And we're at the summit. Nothing was discussed. Nothing regarding young people was discussed, because there was a political tension as regards to who's going to be the AU chair. And last year went by, and the African Union would only prioritize the thematic area that they want to work on every year. On the regional level, EAC is not prioritizing it that much. They are also being funded by the Germans. I mean, would you think they would use their money to even discuss these issues? No. So we are saying we want to bring these people together to say, Joshua, what do you have? Tayo, what do you have? How can we trade? How can we use some of the success stories that you've had in your country? How can I duplicate it in my community as well? And therefore, the way we've channeled it is to, the way we've structured it is to have pre-summits in every country on the region. And this pre-summit allows us to have an inclusive conversation at the national level before we get to the regional level. Because we're also tired of people coming for meetings and they don't speak a word.
Yeah, definitely, yes.
Throughout the meeting. So we want to have a forum where we have a coalition of young people speaking. So they have a couple of meetups. Everybody's having meetups, like talk about what's happening in Korogosho, what's happening in Karen, what's happening in this place. Then all of them come together to have a pre-summit that leads us to the regional summit. And this is the scenarios that we're getting. Based on that, we have this organization who is hosting this national summit, then comes to the regional summit to the table. This is the problem that the Kenyan youths are talking about. This is the problem that the South Sudan youths are talking about. Then we harmonize that and critically look into it and not talk about it, but look for solutions to it. We cannot start putting we need to manage people's time. And I think that's one thing that Africans don't regard. You bring people for a summit and you don't allow them talk. You just want to take pictures. You just want to have, have you satisfy your donor just to say we had this youth summit in this particular time. So these are the things that we're trying to do to bring them together, to be able to get involved and trade and trade within themselves, both resources as well as other exemplary that is functioning in their own community.
Okay, as we conclude now, the East Africa Leadership Summit that will be happening, in case one needs to actively participate, what would you tell the youth watching right now and how they would actually enjoy themselves to this particular summit?
Okay, before then, I would also like to warn the youths. I'm really also very tired of the young people as well. Like, you cannot, there's a need for intergenerational dialogue. And young people need to know that it's a process. You cannot build a mountain in one day. Most of the young people now are very aggressive. They want to be this in a matter of a short time. So, and that's the reason why this particular summit is very critical for us, because we are saying, if you have something you're doing already, then come to the regional summit to have a conversation with us. And if anybody's watching me right now, I'm saying, you know, you need to get onto our website, write to us, reach out to us. We have a website, it's called www.youthleadsummit.org, where you can get more information about what the summit is about, what sort of, you know, conversation you can plug into. We have several conversations we want to talk about. And this year's summit is it's about youth inclusion, the regional economic inclusion, and we're looking at scenarios on that particular issue.
Okay.
So we're looking at them coming with practical solution, not talk. If you want to talk, please drop us a voice note or something else, but you're not going to come to our summit to have another discussion. So that's what we're looking for. So if you're that young person who is already doing something in your own community, then we need you. We're looking for you.
Thank you, Taye Balogun, actually giving us insights on the Leadership Summit of East Africa that will be happening next month?
Right.
On the 19th.
19th to 23rd.
Okay, thank you so much, to the 23rd. That was Tayo giving us an insight on